Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. So, as I speculated, Bron's gonna be out for 3 weeks, and Steph Curry is gonna be coming back against the Lakers. Next time we see the Golden State Warriors, about 4 or 5 games from now, whenever it is. That's the game Steph Curry is targeting to come back. My speculation was right on those two things. Now, how I came to 3 weeks in regards to Bron ain't necessarily how they came to 3 weeks. They essentially are saying they're going to look at him and reevaluate him in 3 weeks. I was working under the pretenses that they were going to reevaluate him in 2 weeks and that it would take 3 weeks. So that's really important to me coming here and telling you guys that 3 weeks, well, by way of how I was looking at it, it's probably going to be more like 4 weeks. So hopefully it just lands on 3 weeks like we initially figured it would. Hopefully, with a situation being like this, he ain't going to want to miss more than 3 weeks. On that 3 week mark, believe you me, if there's a game that day and he's good to play, he's playing. So I expect it to be 3 weeks. Yeah, I trying to figure out if there was anything else I wanted to get into in regards to news, particularly before I just say whatever comes out of my mouth, as I always do. Nah, I think that was it. So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic. A lot is riding on D'Angelo Russell being able to come back soon. No, he got to come back, man. I'm not saying he's going to be able to play in Minnesota. That's already been X'd out. He's not going to be there. But I'm hoping that we can have some breakthroughs with his healing. It seems like, man, and I'm not the only person who said this, but it needs to be said. It just seems like guys are taking a little longer to heal than we want to see. And I'm not saying that's anything the players can do anything about. I'm saying maybe we need to take a look at some other things that we're doing as an organization. I look at Austin Reeves' injury. That took way too long. What the heck? His hamstring, even when we brought him back, he didn't look right. He wasn't fully healthy until he came back, after the All-Star break. It just seems like it's taking too long for guys to come back. So I don't know if there's anything to that or not, but, a rolled ankle for a 27-year-old dude, it's like, all right, man, how bad did that roll really hit him? How bad is it? Are we not doing enough? Is there more we can do? Is there anything? That's just the kind of stuff that a fan's gonna ask. So that's what it is, man. People are starting to wonder if we need to start looking around, seeing if we can do some things differently with our with how we're doing things with these guys' health. However that looks, whatever, I don't know what would be best, but the murmurs are saying, it's time to make some moves, some changes, Lakers. Time to start investing in that area a bit more to assure that our guys are healthy, or that we're doing all that we can to be state of the art to assure that we help them. So that's what I'm looking at there. We're looking at the standings, man. The Golden State Warriors are seemingly playing everybody we need them, to play in regards to different teams that we're going up against, and they too are a team in this Western Conference that we need to lose games. So there's no safe spot. The Clippers and the Warriors are playing right now. Last I checked, the Clippers were up by like 6 near halftime or something like that. But, much was said about Russell Westbrook and how Draymond was guarding him in a particular sequence. And what was stood out for me was just how Russell Westbrook didn't take a 3-point shot despite them guarding him like 18 feet. Draymond was deep in the paint, like in an exaggerated amount of clogging of the paint in regards to leaving Russell Westbrook open at the top of the key for by himself. And he didn't take the shot. And my thing was, now, when he was eating up $47 million of the Lakers cap, he was firing those shots off without any conscience. He would let that thing fly, and if it went, cool. If it flew off the side of the backboard, no problem. But with the Clippers, they giving him all this space, and he's passing up those shots. He's passing around to Paul George, passing toward defense. I'm like, brother, you only making $700,000. They giving you a 3-point shot that's wide open. Your ego alone made you take that shot at least 50 times for us. You can't. Ty Lue ain't letting you take that shot, huh? They really told you ain't got no rope to make no mistakes. They will not play you, and they will cut you. That's essentially what I'm seeing here. It's like, this is your last hurrah. If you don't do every single thing the right way, or do everything the way that Ty Lue tells you, I mean, he ain't gonna have no more spots in this league. That's essentially the way he's playing. And so I'm telling you guys that just 3 weeks ago he would have took that shot and he would not have cared if it fell or not. And that pisses me off because, like I said, he was eating up $47 million of our cap, which meant that all those players that he represented were not on the floor, and his ego was driving him to just throw our possessions away. But for the Clippers, oh, he's Mr. Careful. Just irritated by it. Very irritated by it. Not to mention that I've seen him hit enough three-point shots to know that he can hit that shot. Not to say that you want him taking it, but the defense playing off him to that degree, I don't understand why he didn't shoot the ball. I don't understand why he didn't shoot the ball. It had to be Ty Lue telling him you don't shoot regardless. But he just hit a three for them a couple days ago. I saw him hit it. So it's just, I don't know. Clippers are not going to do well, man. First of all, they're playing Russell Westbrook as if they have to play him. And then as they play him, they're playing him as if they don't expect him to do nothing but make mistakes. And so it's like, why would you even bring a guy like that into your situation? This is what, I was listening to Skip Bayless talk about it, and he said he's out on the Clippers for that same reason. It's like, why in the hell would you bring a guy to your situation that you know you don't trust? You know that you have to play him in such a way that's going to make everything difficult for you. The way that they're playing off of him clogs the floor for other players on your floor. You don't feel comfortable playing him down a stretch of basketball games, but you want to make him your starting point guard and proceed to give yourself unnecessary headaches. I mean, I never will I understand the Clippers' decision to bring Russell Westbrook in. I barely understand the Lakers' decision to bring Russell Westbrook in, but the Clippers, at this point, I don't understand it. Because when they do use him, they use him like they don't trust him. They put handcuffs on him because this is obvious a handcuff. Darvin Ham would have let him shot that three. We would for sure let him shoot that three. We would have said, what the hell are you doing for passing those passes up? Like, you take that shot every time. So I just think the Clippers have given themselves a poison pill for no damn reason. Every trade they made, with the exception of stumbling into that Bones Highland trade, made them older. And now they're making the same mistakes the Lakers made, in the sense where they're having young players sit and are playing the old guys that can't do as much for them. Eric Gordon, I don't know what makes them think that Eric Gordon is somebody they should be investing in more so than Terrence Mann and Bones Highland and Amir Coffey. I don't, for the life of me, I don't know what the hell they're thinking. But I can tell you this, there'll be a lot better team if they give those guys his minutes. I'll tell you that, they'll be a better team. And that's just what it is, man. You got to understand, everybody does. Once you start bringing in these guys that are starting to age, you can't resell them. You cannot retrade them for nothing. A guy like Eric Gordon is going to have to go out for half of the price that he came in for. So whatever it is you're going to get out of him, you better get out of him now. But the problem is you're not better for it. So it's one of those situations where it's like, now you got him down here running around trying to get in shape when you got perfectly young 22-year-olds who are in great shape, who need to get better, who will get better if they play more, sitting on your bench getting worse. And it's a mistake that you see the league make all over the place. It's a mistake my team has made a lot. We stopped making as of late. I'm happy about. But I still look around, I see the Clippers, I'm like, man, they stepped right into the very dog doo-doo that I always try to keep my team from stepping into. Misevaluating guys that are aging, bringing them in for their names, then leaning on them and having them play all the minutes to your detriment. It's what the Clippers just walked into. They walked right into the, let's get the old role-playing name, because he can help us lead past the youngsters who he has more experience than. No, he won't. He's just another body they're going to mow down. Every time. If his three-point shot ain't falling, he's not guarding any of those young people that are going to be faced. You're going to be faced off against. So, I know the Clippers got worse. Kawhi Leonard's playing great, but I don't like what I'm seeing out of him. I'm wondering if this is the beginning stages of Paul George facing Father Time, because I'm sensing something there as I watch him run around. It's, you could just see that he's gotten a little older. Not to say that he doesn't have it, but you can just tell, that he might have stepped over that hump from being a guy who's in his prime to a guy exiting that prime. It's just a little thing that I'm noticing. I'll be looking for him to play as he plays going forward, but I'm sensing something. And so with him, Kawhi Leonard, who looks great, Kawhi Leonard's playing like an MVP candidate right now. But it's like they got a lot of guards now. It's like Norman Powell, his numbers, is his minutes still the same now that you got Bones Highland in place? With Terrence Mann, is he able to get the minutes necessary to develop properly? Or are you still throwing guards in front of him? And it's just, I don't know. I look at their center position, I say that's trash. No disrespect to the players because I like Zubats, I like Plumlee, but that's not gonna get it done. It's just not in the playoffs, not in the West, not now, not with what's around. So I just look at the Clippers. I say y'all don't scare nobody no more. You did before you made all those trades. You were a better team before you made those trades, but after you made those trades, you just got older, and you went in the wrong direction in regards to where the West is headed. It seemed to me. So I look at the Clippers as one of the lower echelon teams that concern me in the Western Conference. They have the talent to do a lot of great things, but they also have the talent to be easy. They have the roster that's easy to attack, just like Dallas. Just drive into their paint and continuously drive into their paint, and you'll get a victory. That's just what it is. Certain teams are just soft in the middle, and there ain't nothing else to it. I don't care how much talent they have on their team. They can't guard you. And so that's what I look at in the Clippers. That's exactly who they are. Unless they're getting a hell of a lot of defense out of guys like Covington and Batum, different rotations that allow Kawhi to be involved. And if they're able to have success in passing lanes and stuff like that, if they're able to play good team defense, they may be able to string something together. But I don't see that happening in a 7-game series against a really good Western team. That's the problem. They'll get a couple wins for sure, but they ain't going to be able to win no real series without improving their interior defense, in my humble opinion. So, them in Dallas, that's just not going to work out. Now, Phoenix is an entirely different story because I truly believe that when you talk about putting together Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, that type of efficiency could rival some of the greatest efficiency we've ever seen. Just those two players alone, the way they're capable of shooting in one game, we ain't really seeing stuff like that too often. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors come to mind because obviously KD was a part of that, and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But that's the type of lethal shooting ability that those two players provide you. So, you think about Chris Paul. Chris Paul doesn't need to be even a very, very good version of himself in this situation. He just needs to be on the floor enough to make plays and get rhythm passes to Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. And obviously Chris Paul's going to be able to do more than that, even if he's a shell of himself. And the rest of the questions was like, all right, Ayton's going to be fine. He's going to do what Ayton does, and it's going to be amplified by the fact that he has so many scorers around him. So, health is everything. Of course, a couple rolled ankles, and their team is not going to be very good. And that's the difference between the Lakers and I think some of these other teams that, like Phoenix. It's like, yeah, Phoenix and the Lakers have the same problem in the sense that you expect their core to have issues. But now that the Lakers have made the trade they made, you see how they're able to beat a team like OKC, who has the same record as them, without all three of their top 3 players. Now, if all 3 of the top 3 players go out of Phoenix, they're not going to win another game. They won't win a single game without their top 3 players. If Dallas's top 3 players go down, they don't win any games. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I have so much confidence in my own team if we can just overcome what it is we're faced with. Because we're average without everybody, basically. We're average when you start getting into our bench. So if you put our full team together and you allow us to go out there healthy, I think we are capable of getting out of the West. I think we are, because the rest of these teams, they're questionable in depth. They can't withstand injury. They're not going to be able to do what the Lakers are doing right now. And so that's, as Bron comes back, hopefully he comes back healthy. Hopefully we're able to do all we need to do to stay afloat, which is not guaranteed. But let's say the cards fall into place for us, and we do find ourselves in the play-in tournament. I like our chances. If we can win those games, getting in the first round and upsetting the first round team, especially if that first round team is Denver. I don't think Denver wants to see us in the matchup. I've said this many times. I like us against Denver. Memphis, I know we can have some trouble with Memphis. I don't think your game's going to be 26 turnovers, but I just think in a 7-game series, that's a little much for us right now. With the little continuity that we have, pretty sure we would love to see them in a different round than the first one. But yeah, this certain matchups like Sacramento. I mean, I have a lot more respect for Sacramento than I think most people do as it pertains to what I think they can do to us in a 7-game series. I don't really love us against them in a 7-game series because they shoot the three so well. They shoot the ball very well, and we don't guard the perimeter as well as I like us to. And I know they got the centers to keep us from, being able to do that thing we did against Dallas. So I'd rather avoid them. I'm not saying I'd rather play Denver than them. I don't think so, but I'd rather not play Sac. So this is a situation where we'll be happy to get in the playoffs anyway. Let's hope some things shake out so some other teams kind of shuffle around. I look at Golden State and I see Steph Curry coming back. I look at the New Orleans Pelicans. I see Zion on his way back. As I was saying yesterday in the video, Anthony Simons, who's going to be back before the playoffs, he came back yesterday. He was back a couple hours after I said that. So it's like, look, the West is getting better fast. If you look at Dallas, they won a game tonight against Philadelphia. Kyrie and Luka went for 40 apiece. First time anybody from Dallas has ever done that. So, these type of things, like, I look at the Clippers and I say, y'all really want to run out there with Mason Plumlee and Zubac as your only bigs? Good luck. Good luck. You want to run out there with Russell Westbrook and have him be your starting point guard, get rid of Reggie Jackson, let him go to the Denver Nuggets, which is absolutely a head-scratcher to me. Consider Reggie Jackson and all that he knows about their team being there for the last 4 years. And you're going to let him go to a team that's even better than you in your same conference? Not smart. And Bones Highland was somebody that wanted off of their team anyway. So, and then you're not using him. You're giving him 15 minutes a game. So it's like, so that they can play Eric Gordon. All right, Ty. All right, you got it. So I'm just a Laker fan that's just gaining more and more confidence in my team's, abilities, despite getting just crushed by injuries at the absolute worst possible time. Never has there been a worse time for a guy like LeBron James to go down with an injury when you know damn well the West is shaky and you actually have a better team than most as of right now. I like our chances to come out of the West as good as most of the contenders. Really. I really do. People like Denver, people like Memphis. I like us. I really do. I like I said, Sacramento. Teams that I'm most interested in: the Lakers, the Sacramento Kings, Phoenix Suns. It's got to be somebody else that I'm not thinking about in the Western Conference. The Portland Trailblazers, even though they're losing the games they cannot lose. That's the only problem with Portland. I think they have that upside, but they got the same problem we do. They just got the wrong record for their situation. And they may be the team that's left out after all, but I think the upside for them is crazy if they keep this team together. So, and do something about that Nurkic contract, replace him with somebody a lot less expensive, and I think they'll be in a really good spot. But all in all, the Western Conference is ready for war, man. Ready for war. I don't think OKC's gonna stick around. I'm pretty sure they're about to slip out. Utah, same thing. I don't think they really want to win. By the way, for those Laker fans, I didn't mention we got to play them twice too, and they're right above us, if I'm not mistaken. We played them in the very last game of the season, if I'm not mistaken, or the second to last game, something like that. That could be a meaningful game. It could come down to that. In fact, it's likely to come down to that. So, I'm very fortunate we got this OKC win. But for my particular squad, we still have a very serious uphill battle with Anthony Davis' health being in question. D'Angelo Russell still not back from his ankle, and Bron not set to be reevaluated for 3 weeks. So, I don't know, man. I know it looks good right now because we've been winning. You know what I mean? We've won what, 5 out of our last 6 or something like that. 4 out of our last 5, something. So it's looking good, but you just look at it and you see some of the teams you got to see, and if you're evaluating the talent properly, that this team is going to do some things better if they want to win, like they did against OKC. You know, like this Minnesota game. I think Minnesota is, they're not the greatest team in the world right now. They're kind of still trying to learn themselves. They got rid of some pieces that I think made them scary. In fact, the funny thing about Minnesota is, as I'm assessing them, this is God's honest truth. One of the first things I think about is, okay, so D'Angelo Russell's going to be out there roaming around free. Like, nah, they traded him to us. It's like, okay, we ain't got to worry about that no more. Believe it or not, that really was one of the first things that come to mind, because obviously with Karl Anthony Towns being out, they're significantly less potent shooting basketball team. You obviously have to deal with Anthony Edwards, but when I look at Mike Conley, I'm like, Mike Conley's like a glue guy. He ain't gonna shoot me out the sky. I mean, he can shoot, but you're not looking at him like D'Angelo Russell as somebody who's gonna be picking you apart shooting the ball. So, he's less of a threat in my mind. So it's kind of like the Minnesota Timberwolves. They removed some of the things that made them dangerous. It's like I don't know if they feel like they've gotten better. Obviously, when you consider them having Rudy Gobert, that alters everything. But I don't know, man. I just think that they've made themselves a lot worse, and I'm hopeful we'll be able to take advantage of that tomorrow somehow. I really do hope that. Obviously we want to win, but even more so, I think I want to be right about what I'm saying here, because at the end of the day, I really do think they made one of the worst decisions ever in trading for Rudy Gobert. I think that was one of the worst trades, if not the worst trade in the history of the sport. But he has played well. Let's just tell the truth about the first year of Rudy Gobert. He's played pretty well. You isolate what you gave up for him and the fact that Walker Kessler is just as good as him basically, but you don't think about that. You just think about who he is and what you want him to be when you brought him in. You're happy with year one so far, and you have an opportunity to make the playoffs. And without Karl Anthony Towns, you probably know that you give yourself a pass. You know what I mean? And I think, all things considered, this is what you wanted him to do. If Karl Anthony Towns goes down with a weird injury, be a center in place that keeps you dangerous and allows you an opportunity to make the playoffs. So for what it is that they wanted, they should be okay thus far. But for what they gave up, they could have got back off a boatload, a super boatload, something that would have made them actual contenders. And so if you don't know what you're doing and you just have a whole lot, you give it away for what you think works, and then you find out you bought yourself a lemon, but the lemon looks pretty good. So you're like, well, it's a lemon, but it doesn't seem like it yet. So let's just keep on running with it. That's kind of what that is. So, Minnesota is a team that I just think is headed in the wrong direction. I'm hopeful we can help send them there by handing them yet another loss. So it's incumbent upon the Lakers to get Anthony Davis back, reestablish him, figure out whatever the heck is going on with him in regards to whether or not they want to tell the truth about whether or not they want to play him, or if they just want to kind of keep that information from us, because I don't think how these last 24 hours went with Darvin Ham was a shining bright light on this team. We talked about that earlier. No need to go back over it again, but just going forward, I'd just like us to be very, very smart about everybody's health. We seem to be very smart about D'Angelo's health, Bron's health. Let's be smart about Anthony's too, because if the plan is to never play him in back-to-backs, let's just never deviate from that plan. That's all I gotta say, because he's too important leading into future seasons to be toying around with his health. It's that simple. If nothing else, the last thing you want is a season-ending injury that puts you in a position to where you can't trade him if you decided you wanted to in the offseason. You don't want that. So that's something that we always have to be honest about, man. I know we're probably not making ourselves look very home to him. That's something I've been thinking about. All these talks about Anthony Davis being glass, Anthony Davis not being reliable. I'm pretty sure the first chance he gets, he's probably going to leave this place. if all of that is affecting him in a negative way. I can see a reason for him to want to leave and go to Chicago or New York or somewhere else. Uh, I can also see a world where he don't want to leave LA at all because LA is still LA and it's the Lakers. But I don't know, man. I just wonder if his future's here. I wonder if the Lakers, um, what the sentiment is at this point. Will we find ourselves having made the trades we've made, and the team being as good as it is, but we still can't rely upon our stars for whatever reason. I know how fans feel, but I wonder how Genie feels. I wonder how management is looking at this as it pertains to what it is they want to do going forward. It's obvious that they value youth, given the fact they made the trades that they just made. They value length and different things that shooting. More so it seems. Maybe that's a product of them trying to build around Bron and AD. Maybe it's just a product of them changing their philosophy on what it is they want to do. But as we've said, nobody on the Lakers is under 27, over 27 outside of the core. So I think that might be something that may continue once the core moves on. I think they may want to invest in high level younger superstars. Trae Young or somebody like that. They're going to give their bag to somebody like that, I think. If they move on from Bron and AD. Keep that age range young and then go forward looking for guys that are under 30 from here on out. I just wonder if that's the thing, because even now in the buyout market, you ain't seen them sign no Carmelos. You ain't seen them sign no Goran Dragic's. You ain't seen them go after nobody that you would have seen them go after in the previous years. They just are completely upside down on the mantra about going these vets. And I'm obviously on board with that. That's been my thing. Do that. And so clearly I'm pleased, but I'm just wondering if what I'm seeing is real, or if it's just something they're trying this year, or if it's how the Lakers want to go forward for or what have you. So just curious to know what they're doing. But yeah, that's pretty much the thought here. I don't know what type of video this is. I guess I'll make it an NBA/LA Laker chat video, since I did talk about some other teams. But at the end of the day, my interest is always going to be us. It's us versus them, whoever they are. And I'm hoping to get more championships than them at all times. And so since we're stuck at 17 and the Celtics are really good and all that good stuff, we need to be continuing to push forward with confidence, trying to get a championship this season. Because as long as they got their hands in a position to get Larry O, we need to be in a position to intercept it from them. And that's just always going to be how I live. It's the Lakers versus the field, but the field isn't nearly as important as the Lakers versus the Celtics, because at the end of the day, we're in a two-man race to the very top, and there's no one else even close. And so whatever the league is on with respect to the NBA and what their interests are, there's a bigger, deeper game being played in the NBA, and it's called who has the most championships. As far as I can tell, that's the most supreme game in the league. Rivalry, interest of reaching for its individual goals. There is nothing more elite than the rivalry between the Lakers and the Celtics, because nobody else is even in our stratosphere. No one else. You can remove all the teams from the league, and it's still us and them. You could put us in the ABA, and it's still us and them, because they got 17, we got 17, and that's it. Everybody else has a lot less than that. So, that's, as a Laker fan, as a true Laker fan, and as somebody who's continuing to push the culture, that's really all of this will ever be about for us. It's making sure we have more than green. And since we have never had more than green, that's the most important thing in the world. Above all else. So that's what I think I'll leave this at, man. This Laker pride. And that's what we're about over here. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.